This week on Arizona Illustrated, January 8th, 10 years.
It was a terrible tragedy, one of the worst tragedies in Tucson's history. We lost some amazing people that day.
The challenges and camaraderie of the Highland Games.
Some of these people I've only met one time my entire life, but we're all family.
Even if you're having a bad day, you support and rally each other for everything.
And the music and making of Flor de Nopal.
Like the cactus flower, right? Like they're so bright, they're so full of energy, and they are literally like in the middle of all these thorns.
Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. The AZPM crew and I are here next to the Rito River along the Loop. 131 miles of car-free paved bike lanes and trails winding along a network of riverbeds and natural habitat. And while the Loop offers a safe place for a workout or walk, we are all looking forward to the day when we can again gather together at things like events and performances. On this episode of Arizona Illustrated, we offer you a way to do just that from the safety of your own home, as that day is not yet here. Until then, we all must remain vigilant, continue to practice social distancing, and wear masks when appropriate, as the coronavirus is more prevalent than ever. Here is an update. Arizona is seeing the highest rate of new coronavirus cases in the world, setting new state records for new cases, deaths, test results, and testing positivity in the past 30 days.
Recently, the state reported a new single-day record of nearly 9,000 cases, up from just over 6,000 1 month ago. And since the first vaccines arrived in Arizona on December 14th, nearly 120,000 doses have been administered.
For more coronavirus information, visit news.azpm.org. January 8th, 2011 is a day that's seared into the memory of most of us here in southern Arizona. For it was on that day 10 years ago that a gunman opened fire on a small gathering outside a Tucson supermarket. 19 people from our community were shot, 6 of them died. For those who witnessed it, lost someone, or were injured, January 8th changed everything. In order to mark that day, remember those we lost, and continue to move our community forward, we sat down with 5 people whose lives were impacted in profound ways. Pam Simon worked for her friend, Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, and was at the Congress on Your Corner event. Pam survived having been shot in the arm and chest. Longtime journalist Mark Kimball was Giffords' press aide. He was not injured during the shooting and aided those who were. Nancy Bowman, a registered nurse at the time, and her husband, Dr. David Bowman, were shopping just inside the Safeway. They emerged to treat the injured. Trauma surgeon RANDALL FRIESE was on duty on January 8th at University Medical Center, as it was then known, and helped treat the victims, including Giffords and 9-year-old Christina Taylor Green.
People who were not there can't possibly understand what it was like among a bunch of people. Many of us knew each other. Many of us had never met each other before that day. And they're now among my closest friends. And we can go a year without seeing each other, and then we run into each other, and it seems like, could this possibly have been 10 years ago?
It's something that you can't forget, that's for sure. And you know, you work through it, you try to figure out ways to make your life as normal as possible, but there's always that little thing that, you know, on the back of that little thing on your shoulder.
Well, for me, I'm less trusting than I was before of just what's going on around me. I try not to be as blasé that guy who looks a little weird is he's just sitting on the bench. You know, is he going to do something? And I don't do anything about it except to make note of it. So It's a part of me that I don't really like, but it's there.
It can touch any one of us, and I don't think most people recognize that, you know. And it can be very earth-shattering and earth-shaking. You know, one day everything's fine, and then the next minute someone is severely injured or murdered from gun violence.
I just hold my children very close to me, much more than I used to, because they can be taken at any moment.
I keep a reminder on my desk. The FBI gave back my bullet. And so there isn't a day goes by that I don't think about how grateful I am to be here, to be able to have seen the birth of my 2 grandchildren. I just feel like every day is filled with gratitude.
For me, it's like it happened yesterday. Some days I just think so vividly the faces that you saw and what was happening, and so that brings it right back. Yeah, things are blunted, but you can never and should never get rid of that memory, something like that, and spend whatever energy you have to try and make sure it doesn't happen again somehow.
It was a terrible tragedy, one of the worst tragedies in Tucson's history. We lost some amazing people that day, 6 amazing people. 6 people who didn't really have much in common with each other, were brought together for one moment, and that was the last moment of all their lives. And they will be remembered as a group, even though they didn't know each other before they got to the Safeway on January 8th, 2011.
Gabe was a dear friend. It's hard to look at his picture without thinking of the loss, not only to all of us that knew him and to his family and his fiancée, but the loss to our world, because he was such an outstanding young man.
And I see Roxana and John Green all the time, and my heart breaks. I have this necklace that Roxana gave me that was made in memory of her daughter. And I cannot take this off, because if I take this off, that means I'm forgetting to remember a 9-year-old girl who now would be 19 and going off to college. These were actual people, members of our community that were stolen from us and murdered. And I don't want to forget that, and I don't think anybody should. And I want to remember their names, and I want to honor their names, and I want to do things that will honor them and honor our community.
I think it helped our community realize the sense of community again, and the importance of a sense of community. I mean, you know, in the 21st century, we're so used to communicating in different ways, and here the pandemic is forcing us to adapt again. But I think that event here reminded us that we are a community. We do matter to each other, and we can get through tragedies by helping each other.
On January 8th, 2021, the 10-year anniversary of the shooting, a commemorative ceremony and dedication of the January 8th memorial entitled Embrace took place at the historic county courthouse in downtown Tucson. Due to coronavirus concerns, the ceremony was private, but you can view it on the Pima County Facebook page. The memorial is scheduled to be open in February. All of the people you just heard from participated in AZPM's 2012 documentary, Together We Heal. And you can view the documentary on our website, azpm.org/togetherweheal. And now we'll take a moment to remember the 6 people who were taken from us on January 8th, 2011. Federal Judge John Roll, Phyllis Schneck, Dorwin Stoddard, Dorothy Morris, Christina Taylor Green, Gabe Zimmerman, 2020 was eventful in almost every way, not the least of which were the gatherings and events that didn't happen. And one of those being the annual Celtic Festival and Highland Games that have been celebrated in Tucson for 3 decades. Now we hope the festival and games return to Rillito Park this November. But until then, here's a new story from senior producer Mitch Riley, put together from footage he shot at the 2019 Highland Games.
This is the World Masters Championship. We've got 10 countries represented, 151 athletes competing. Being at the Worlds is an honor to qualify to come out here. I'm a criminal investigator from Bristol, Virginia. This is the furthest I've traveled from home to throw, which is just great. It's an honor to be here. Going through high school, I played baseball, basketball, football, and had just kind of reached a plateau with my lifting, and I'm a very competitive person. And I found something that a big old fat guy that's 50 can come out here and do and be competitive with. And now I'm a Highlands Game athlete. I do have an accent from Southwest Virginia. Although I'm Irish descent. I like Tucson. I love the dry heat. You know, back home we'd have like 97% humidity. Here we have 0.
The Highland Games are the Scottish athletics. It's almost like track and field meets strongman. There's 9 events, different divisions for men and women, and masters being anybody from 40 on up. When I first started, I was a fire paramedic, but I'm a flight medic now. We have more and more women learning that they can do it and that they don't have to come out on the field and know everything and be perfect. They just come out on the field and have fun, and you learn as you go.
This comes from Scotland, where England took away their weapons, and so they had to use what they had. Trees to go across crevices in the ground, they had to use rocks to throw. The hammer, they would use that to throw at somebody as a weapon.
My clan is Clan Mackay. Northernmost part of Scotland, top half is the Highlands. People go, oh, well, I'm not Scottish, I'm not Irish. Even if you're not of Celtic descent, it's more just the mindset of it. To be part of a clan, be part of a family, you don't have to be blood. It's the family. I'm prior Navy combat veteran and now do combat camera for the Army. Because it's training for battle, you're not competing against any other athlete. You are, but you're not. You're more competing against yourself. Can you set a personal record?
We had 5 events, and I was fortunate enough to win all 5 of my events. Sheaf is, it's actually with a pitchfork. So you take a corner of it. It's a gunny sack that's weighted at 10 pounds. They say that a lot of this is either farming or fighting, and this is more farming. The pitchfork with the hay up into the loft. I won my sheaf, and I managed a world record today. 28 feet 3 inches. I'll hopefully win the whole thing. I mean, we still have 4 more, but I just take one event at a time.
I tore a bicep tendon, so this arm's gone. I have to get surgery on it, but I threw all left-handed today. I'm gonna be in last place probably in every event, but I don't care. I'd rather be out here with my brothers and sisters. As some of us will say, it is better to die on your feet in the field of battle than to sit on the sideline and watch from the hill. Caber in Gaelic means felled tree. That was your original Army Corps of Engineers. That was a bridge across a moat, a stream, ladder up an embattlement.
It's not for distance, it's just you want to get a perfect score of a 12. It has to churn one time, and it has to land at 12 o'clock in front of you, per your shoulders, the judge looking behind you. So today I got a 12, I got a 12-10, and then I got a drop, which that's not very good. And then today, when I dropped the caber, it hit me in the ear, but you know, I should have got out of the way.
I have yet to travel into a country where others didn't embrace you the same way as the U.S. embraces each other. Even if you're having a bad day, you support and rally each other for everything.
The best thing about this is the camaraderie. And I mean, some of these people I've only met one time my entire life, but we're all family.
Come on, Bill.
The second is to be competitive. And I'm a very competitive person, and to be able to come out here and do this and have fun at it, it's rewarding.
Some of my brothers and sisters, we're going to sit around tonight, talk about how the day went, what we would have liked to done better, what we were proud about, have pints, talk, have meals together. There you go, lad. You know, fellowship. First, the Scottish Declaration of Independence, it states, as long as there's 100 of us left alive, we will not fight for honors, riches, glories, or lands. We fight for freedom. No man will give up his freedom except for with his life.
For more information on the Tucson Celtic Festival and the 2021 Highland Games, visit TucsonCelticFestival.org. In February 2020, just before the societal disruption caused by the coronavirus pandemic was in full force, producer Andrew Brown filmed a live performance by an interview with local electronic musician Bea VELAZQUEZ. Drawing on deep familial ties to the desert, a traditional musical upbringing, and discovery of identity, VELAZQUEZ produces music that could only come from this time and place. This is Flor de Nopal.
You don't know what's gonna happen once you get on that stage, but you know all of the things that you've done to get on that stage. Flor de Nopal, which means cactus flower, is an electronic synth dark wave music project that consists of me and about 5 machines that I communicate with. Open the door, I see. Lyrics are like so emo, but the beat is like going and people just want to dance, and like that's literally like how I feel in life, right? And so I think it's just so special to be able to like have that combination of 2 elements that seem contradictory, you know, or they're like opposites, but really they're part of the whole.
Happy on Valentine's Day. My name is Flor de Nopal. I'm super excited to play for you all tonight. Glad you're enjoying it.
What's with this haircut, though?
But that's what I was talking about, precisely.
Oh, Mom and her little mushroom cut.
And look at this heaven. Oh my God, I am clearly so upset here. Do you see this?
That is the same face you make now when you're upset. It's exactly the same. That's how our family's always been. We talk a lot of crap, but it's all like constructive criticism is what we like to call it. You know, it's never too mean. I remember how much you hated these photos growing up. They made you so upset.
I hated the photos, but I loved this suit because...
I think the costume was awesome.
Well, also this was like, I got to be a boy in this. Like, little boys were in the court.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah, and so they dressed me up as a little boy.
You always looked forward to that outfit.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, I've always loved to sing, and my dad's an opera singer, so he always taught us how to sing and stuff, and there was always music playing in the house.
Always kept us really entertained when it came to being in music. Like, Bea would sing and do the cello, and then I would do the viola, or tried. But Bea always had like a really natural talent to music, something that I've always known that I didn't have. They just would pick something up and make something out of it.
The end of middle school was when I started to get like super serious with the cello. When I started at ASU, I started as a music performance student. And I was playing and practicing probably 6-7 hours a day. While I loved it, I felt so detached from all of these other really important things to me. So I ended up switching my major and studying something completely different. And so I just kind of took a break. And that's when electronic music kind of like really came to be. So I identify as trans, like non-binary. When I moved back to Tucson 3 years ago, the main reason, even though I didn't tell anyone, the main reason I moved back was because I really wanted to have my top surgery. And my parents live here, my sister lives here, and I have like longtime friends here, and so I knew that if I was gonna go through that process, that I needed to have support. Flor de Nopal as a project really aligns to like the progression and the development and the acceptance of my trans identity in a lot of ways.
Come on me tonight to make you feel well, make you feel well.
I started to think about how challenging the desert is, but also like how rewarding the desert is. Like the cactus flower, right? Like they're so bright, they're so full of energy, and they are literally like in the middle of all these thorns, right? And that's kind of like how I thought about this experience of moving back and getting top surgery. It was like this really beautiful thing is about to happen. And I'm like ready for that bloom to open up. But it's also really tough, right? There's a lot of like literal spines all around the situation. Maybe a year after I chose that name for my project, I also learned that cactus flowers are actually like, they're like non-binary, they're intersex. All cactus flowers have both female and male parts. Being able to walk in my truth, as challenging as that can really be on a literal day-to-day, is the only way that I'm gonna be able to like live my life fully. One of the things I fundamentally believe is that people don't often want to be at the front wheel of their lives. If you have reached a space where you call yourself trans, you have done a lot of that ego death, reflective, deconstructive work and decided to like take your life into your own hands, and that makes us really special.
Pasado, presente, futuro se siente. Thank you.
Before we go, here's a sneak peek at a few stories we're working on.
We got back in school in, I believe it was October 12th. It was awesome because I'm someone who relies on my friends a lot, and I will hang out with them, and it's a big mental, like, just yes. And it was weird just not being able to do that every day. I think probably one of the biggest changes to the school was having to wear masks around and not being able to take them off. And it's kind of hard to recognize people. It's pretty stressful, like just not being able to know what's going to happen today and if your teachers are going to be in school. Our math teacher hasn't been here for a while because he had symptoms, I'm guessing. He hasn't been in for like a week, and he wasn't there for the first 2 weeks of school, in school, that is. So that's been kind of weird.
Think of like if there was a hybrid sport between like lassoing cows and going fishing. I extend the lasso out as much as I need it to be, and then I try to get the lasso over the lizard's head. It can be a bit challenging because the further away the line gets from you, the harder it becomes to see. But then once it's over the head, I have the lizard. And then once you catch it, you always want to give it some support. You don't want to let it just dangle.
A lot of the paradigms about competition between people and, the survival of the fittest kind of approach, whether you're talking about businesses or competitors for resources, that's kind of been the model that capitalism has always been based on. And what we're finding is that where you find collaboration and synergy between people working with each other, that's usually where you're going to be more resilient to these climate changes, to these market changes that can have a negative effect. And so this collaborative development is what we think is the big difference that we're finding that would work here as well. So in the United States, you have this division between everybody along political lines, and that has only made it worse in terms of being able to have healthy communities or being able to take care of the environment in which you're living so the environment can take care of you later.
Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. See you next week.